On February 24, 2019, Green Book, directed by Peter Farrelly, won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. Starring Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali, the inspired by a true story of Don Shirley and his driver, Tony Vallelonga, has since been called an inaccurate representation of the pair's history and a white savior movie. My history with this movie goes back to 2019 when I saw it in theaters with my mom. I thought it was a cool story about friendship, music, and triumph over hate. I showed it to friends, thinking I was going on a little crusade of acceptance. I remember seeing a few tweets and articles here and there about the questionable aspects of the movie, but I didn't consider them because I refused to think that a movie I found so enlightening could be racist. It took a few years of education and life experience to understand what lies under the surface of Green Book's sugar-coated tolerance. Many people before me have analyzed Green Book. However, my perspective is one of somebody who once loved, then liked, then understood its faults. Let me start by giving you a basic summary of the movie. It's 1962, and Tony Vallelonga is a bouncer at the Copacabana. After trouble at the Copa, Tony stumbles upon a job driving for pianist Don Shirley. Tony needs the money for his family and accepts the 2-month gig, driving Don on his tour of the Deep South. The tour takes them from Pittsburgh to Birmingham, and as the pair become better acquainted, the pressure of the Jim Crow South presses harder on them. Don is beaten, arrested, and jailed, and nearly every time, Tony is there to protect him. But then again, that is Tony's job as driver and bodyguard. The movie culminates with Don walking out on a Christmas performance in Birmingham, when the venue refuses to serve him dinner. Tony and Don instead go to a bar down the road, and Don performs for the black patrons. Thus, the tour is concluded, and they drive back to New York in time for Christmas Day, when Tony invites Don into his apartment to have Christmas dinner with his whole family. Now, on paper, the movie seems just fine, but when you look closer, you can see pretty clearly how it doesn't hold up as a progressive film. One of the core issues of this film is its treatment of black people. Now, that's a very broad topic, so I'll narrow it down to how the main character treats black people. A key part of the relationship between Don and Tony is their character arcs. In my understanding, Tony's arc is that he becomes less racist by the end of the movie. For example, early in the movie, he uses a derogatory term to describe the black repairman in his apartment. At the end of the movie, his brother-in-law uses that word, and Tony scolds him for it. This is our main character's development. We are meant to understand that he, of course, can't be perfect and will continue to excuse racist behavior in order to uphold the social order. But it's the 60s, so he gets an excuse. Now let's discuss Don's character arc. I'll be honest, it's hard to find. It seems that his arc is that Tony teaches him humility? This introduces a new layer to their relationship. Don Shirley is fairly wealthy. He lives alone in an apartment above Carnegie Hall and decorates himself and his home with expensive imported goods. Tony is not wealthy. He shares an apartment in the Bronx with his whole family. Throughout the film, Tony seems to resent Don for his arrogant nature, expecting Tony to do tasks for him as his employee. Soon, Tony's quest to humble Don begins to reveal itself as Tony trying to turn Don from a wealthy, self-made black artist into Tony's own racist, stereotypical expectation of a black man. Allow me to show you a scene that demonstrates just that.
If you said all guineas like pizza and spaghetti and meatballs, I'm not gonna get assaulted.
You're missing the point. For you to make the assumption that every Negro...
Hey, you want some or not?
No.
Hey, come on. Tell me that don't smell good. Huh?
It smells okay. I prefer not to get grease on my blanket.
Ooh, I'm gonna get grease on my blankie. Come on, have a piece. It ain't gonna kill you. Come on, take it, eat it.
No.
Take it. I'm throwing it in the back.
Don't you dare.
And you...
It just seems so unsanitary.
Who gives a shit? Just relax and enjoy it. You know, my father used to say, whatever you do it 100%. When you work, work. When you laugh, laugh. When you eat like it's your last meal. You want another piece?
Tony constantly hounds Don for not knowing popular black artists like Aretha Franklin and Little Richard, for not liking fried chicken, and for not speaking and acting like his people. A scene that really spells it out for the audience happens after Don gets Robert F. Kennedy to bail him out of jail. He's had a rough night. His reputation is on the line. Just listen.
And I suffered that slight alone because I'm not accepted by my own people, because I'm not like them either. So if I'm not black enough, and if I'm not white enough, and if I'm not man enough, then tell me, Tony, what am I?
Okay, it all makes sense now. Don isn't accepted by the black community, so he needs Tony, a white man, to teach him how to be black. Yeah, I can see the white savior thing. One of the main ways that the movie manipulates audience interpretation is through music. Now, in case you don't know, non-diegetic music is music played over a scene, put in during the editing process, and the characters cannot hear it. It is solely for audience experience. Most of the dialogue scenes in this movie don't include non-diegetic music. Instead, they have songs playing on the radio, or Don playing piano. That's why it's so much more noticeable when non-diegetic music is included over dialogue, being used to skew the audience's perception of the scene. The music playing during a scene can have a great effect on how the audience interprets the tone of the scene. If the music is light and jovial, what would otherwise seem like a microaggression could be skewed as friendly joking. The editors place specific music to overscore controversial scenes so that, in the moment, the audience may not register the offensive aspects of those scenes. Now, one of the most tone-deaf scenes in the whole movie is the final scene. It's Christmas Day. Don and Tony return home. Don is greeted by his butler and his quiet flat. Tony is greeted by his whole family gathered around the table, and his wife and kids embrace him. A few cuts later, Tony goes to the door and finds Don with a bottle of champagne and welcomes him into his home. His family gapes, but Tony introduces him, and Don shares a moment hugging and laughing with Tony's wife. The movie ends there. Don is welcomed in, everyone is smiling, joyful music is playing, laughter rings through the home. It's not like Tony's brother-in-law called Don a slur 2 scenes ago. The movie ends on a happy note, which is an interesting choice for a movie that half the time takes place in the Jim Crow South. It gives the final scene a hooray, racism is cured feeling. Every part of the plot is tied up in a perfect bow, as if to say there was nothing more to be done. No loose threads. Everyone gets their slice of American dream pie. The final piece I should note is about the inaccurate representation of the pair's history. I mentioned this earlier, and though some parts of their true story don't impact the movie, others reveal more into how the movie was made. The movie was co-written by Nick Vallelonga, Tony's son, who provided most of the stories that make up the movie. Little is known about Don Shirley's side of the story, except what his family can report, including that he was not estranged from them, like the movie said. Either the writers didn't know that Don Shirley was close with his family, or they chose to rewrite his story for the purpose of characterizing Don as a lonely, rejected, lost soul. Don being characterized this way better serves to support Tony as a white savior character, being there to support and guide Don at many points throughout the movie. Regardless, both Tony Vallelonga and Don Shirley passed away in 2013, so their stories are left to be told by their families. One can only hope accurately.